What's your favorite cocktail? Admittedly, I have never really developed a taste for alcohol because beer is disgusting, and I have those Asian flush genes. So I have always opted for the healthiest drink available. And by healthiest, I mean something that is going to inflict the least amount of damage possible to my body, which essentially narrows down my options to water and perhaps, I imagine, vodka soda, except in a can. We have a lot of different options in Canada, but in Korea, so far I haven't really seen any. So I wanted to challenge myself with designing a vodka soda brand / packaging with the help of ChatGPT. Let's get started. So I started by politely informing ChatGPT of all of my intentions and making them submit to my every will. I mean, politely asking for brand names for vodka soda. So then I started to, oh my god. It's just text edit box. Whew. It's all good. Text edit box. So my lovely little bestie complied, and much like when you do a group project and one person does all of the work, they did all of the heavy lifting for me. Thank you so much, ChatGPT. It also supplied an idea for an illustration, which I was more than happy to use because there is nothing worse than thinking the brief. So according to our AI BFFL, we are up against the following. Brand name, Publica. Product, vodka soda. Concept, pure bliss with uncomplicated pleasure. Design concept, calm, seascape, white sand beach. Under soft, gradient sky. Single crystal droplet. Falling. From the sky, about to hit the tranquil water. After that, I started to come up with the visuals for the brand. Starting it off with a mood board. I wanted the brand to feel very retro / vintage meets futuristic with bold typography, strong colors. For the logo, I would like to do a very simple word mark. So I've got 3 ideas / requirements in terms of what they are. The first one is experimental type, so using multiple widths. The second is to make it a vertical layout with the typography. And thirdly, to have vintage, geometric, retro, sans serif fonts. So I'm just going through Adobe fonts and choosing all of the fonts that are the most bubble-esque or that I feel are closest to the fonts in my mood board. Then I will take the fonts, place them side by side, and choose the one that speaks out the most to my heart. And I also think that it's important to note that this is a design exercise. So it's not an exact representation of what the design process would look like for, say, a client. This whole thing took about a day, which is pretty difficult to accomplish if you'd like to flesh out like a brand identity and develop it and get to know the actual company. So I mean, this is pretty shallow in terms of having like an actual reasoning and explanations for my design decisions. I mean, sure, it may look cool or aesthetic or whatever, but if I was in a meeting with a client presenting this idea and they literally asked me any questions at all, I would just keep saying, because it's pretty. I ended up going with this typeface called Chi, which was almost 100% bang on what I was looking for. It's fun, it's bold, it's experimental, and most importantly, it looks like bubbles. The bubbles in like soda that's carbonated, like super fun. Afterwards, I wanted to find a die line for the packaging, so I headed over to Pacdora. So this website, I've said it before, is absolute gold when it comes to packaging design. It helps the process immensely. There are literally hundreds of templates, die lines for just about any packaging that you can imagine. And as a packaging and even brand identity designer, it's immensely helpful. It helps you create custom mockups of any sort without having to learn how to use Blender, because Lord knows, as graphic designers, we already wear way too many hats. Like, you are literally expected to wear every single goddamn hat in that goddamn hat closet slash wardrobe slash where are we getting all these hats from, people, and why do we keep accepting them? I mean, it's kind of comical to picture like a graphic designer, like a clown with the, you know, the cloth, you keep pulling the cloth and more cloths keep coming out and they don't stop. That's like us, but with the hats. We have a business development hat. We have now we need to know how to use Canva hat, which is like pretty self-explanatory. We have a social media marketing hat, a content creator hat. We have too many hats. We have an AI hat. We have to know how to use AI now, or else we're out of a job. We're out of a job. You know, it's kind of like that bag in Harry Potter with the spell on it. So it has an unlimited amount of space, except instead of things, it's just hats. So Hermione, the graphic designer, is literally just pulling out hat after hat, putting them on her head, and her head's getting heavy. My head is heavy. Who keeps making all of these hats and giving them to us? And why tell this person to stop? Just stop. Anyways, you can use my code GC20 for 20% off of Pactora. In terms of color palette, so I use the eyedropper tool to select a few pretty colors for my mood board, and that's about as far as my process went. Again, no real rationale, no rhyme or reason besides, ooh, pretty. I just kind of trusted that hopefully my taste is as good as I think it is. So I drew a quick sketch of the layout and illustration, and I'm just using this to base my designs off of. Another thing I will mention about Pactora that I really like is how seamlessly it integrates into the packaging design process, like the ability to make live improvements to your designs as you're working on them without having to print them to physically see what they look like. That's pretty incredible. You can half flesh something out, export it, bring it into Pactora, see how it's gonna look, make slight adjustments from there, and then continue working on it. It saves you so much time being able to do something like in the beginning or middle of the process, so you don't go too down a hole and then realize after it's printed, oh my god, this is not working at all. Nothing's working when it's printed out. So now I am going to illustrate the ChatGPT generated illustration, the idea with the water droplet poetic thing. I really love how illustrations bring packaging design to life and add so much personality and character. Also, the reason I prefer to leave all of my process in my videos in terms of just speeding up the screen recording of exactly what I'm doing is I feel like people don't really talk about just how long it takes to do stuff. Like, my process looks like a lot of just Googling terms for tools that I can't remember the name of, or just trying to do something quickly but then having to redo it all over again because I didn't want to take the time to Google it in the first place when I should have just Googled it, or just redoing something because I realized that it's hideous. After that, I wanted to experiment with the typeface. And I played with the other elements of the packaging design and made everything dysfunctionally harmonious? Sure. Let's go with that phrase. Going back and forth in Pactora and Illustrator to make slight adjustments to the font sizes and making sure everything looked right. One of my favorite things about Pactora as well is that you can create mock-ups from within the website. So they actually have a modeling section where you can move and turn the mock-ups. You can play with lighting, shadows, color, the textures of the packaging. You can make it really shiny, really matte, as well as play with some of the default creative layout selections that they have. They have the ability to play with balls. So I opted for this kind of simple floating look and then continued to edit it in Photoshop. So this is the final product of this whole design challenge, and I'm kind of stoked with how it turned out. I think it turned out pretty cool. After I finished recording, I did tweak it just a little bit in terms of like color and some of the illustrations at the top of the can. Let me know what you think. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed making it. If you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a comment down below. If you want to tell me what your favorite beverage is, it doesn't even have to be an alcoholic beverage, leave a comment down below. If you want to tell me how lonely you are and what keeps you up at night and that aging is hard, if you want to tell me about all the things that you're doing to fill the void, then leave a comment down below. And I will surely get back to you, my dude, because human connection, it's a valuable thing, valuable, beautiful thing, and we should all have more of it in this isolated society. Make sure to check me out on Instagram as well. Thank you so much at gloriamadethis. Thank you so much. Bye.